Only ashore about a week or two. We call it another victory. We were in the Union Hall. A bunch of us caught it about the same time. There were three or four of us down there. And we need to get a ride. And we found a messman that had a car. He was going to go up there, so we all hitched a ride. Four of us throwing all our sea bags and stuff in his car. And I guess he had to get his wife to drive us because she had to take the car back. So here we go, crowded as hell up to Port Chicago. Get up there, get on board, and they're loading ammo, I guess, old World War II junk in there, bombs and crap. And so it was going to be a good trip for hazardous pay. So we're hauling that cargo of ammo, and we only stuck around for a short time because I had their own longshoremen loading it. We didn't have to stay on the ship, but we had to go on the base, and it was still under military jurisdiction at that time. So we had to show our Z cards and do all the formalities of while we were down there. Yeah, we went back in town. I went back with the messman and his wife back to town because they were going to go out and eat some Chinese food. And I figured I'd go because she was a Chinese, and I didn't know that they lived in Chinatown. That was kind of interesting because he was married to a Chinese lady, and they had children and all that. And they took me down to a Chinese restaurant. I thought I'd enjoy it, but I didn't care for the food they had. I don't know, it was real Chinese food, but just didn't taste good. I was so used to eating Japanese style food. I guess it was American Japanese, but we faked our way through it and made it out of there and got back to the ship. The lady left us there, and we went on board. And in loading, I was up on the forepeak doing something, getting ready to take the lines in or make them up on the deck, and so we could get going. And I was just happened to be watching them load number 2 hole, and they were going to take a heister out and drop it on the dock, and that would have been it because they finished loading it and they finished putting the hatch covers back on. So, but this damn the shackle or something came loose, and that boom swung over and hit this guy with a bulwark. The forklift hit the guy between the bulwark and that damn big heister, and it cut him in half. Man, I about fell out. I couldn't believe what I saw. It was off the port side. He fell in the drink. Of course, the water turned red as hell, and he was trying to swim. And of course, that didn't last too long, but anyhow, the bad part was that he was getting ready to leave, and I guess his wife or family was somewhere up on the dock area, not too far away, and we heard the scream and all that. And I guess he might have been waving to her or something, not paying attention to the load coming out of the hole, the heister, and that's when the accident happened. We had a brief delay with the Coast Guard and other people that came down and investigated and took pictures and did their routine stuff and asked questions and all. Took the shackle off, and I guess they're going to have it as evidence, whatever it was. Whoever who made it up is probably in trouble. So thank God it wasn't one of our crew. Anyhow, we got underway, took off. We were headed for, I guess we were going to, I think it was Quy Nhon. I think we were headed for Quy Nhon. But we were going to stop in Keelung in Taiwan for something else, and I don't remember what, either to wait to get into to Quy Nhon because we were loaded with ammo and they wanted us in and out pretty fast. Didn't want us sitting on the hook outside Vietnam. So we docked just in the breakwater in Keelung, and we were on the hook there. Went ashore, took the bumboat, went at launch, went ashore, and we got in a bar, and I was all in there drinking and carrying on with all the little whores around there, the Chinese girls. And Mama San took a liking to me, and she wanted me to meet her daughter or something. And I said, sure, I'd like to meet her. I didn't know what the deal was, but she told me to sit around and I could have free beer and all that. And I said, heck yeah. So I sat there and drank beer and talked to her all the time. And
getting pretty high, and she said, well, I'd go home. It's around 4 or 5 in the afternoon. We'd go to my house. Well, we went down Keelong and went into one of these kind of main streets with all the businesses and grocery stores and food markets and things and clothing stores. And she came up to this door next to this big, I guess it was like a grocery store. And she says, we live upstairs. I said, and I said, oh my goodness, this is a nice place. So we went up these stairs to this side door of this store. It looked like they were all built side to side, all these stores. But we went up there, and man, it was an elaborate place up there. I mean, it was nice, God Almighty. And met his daughter, and boy, she was a beaut. Whew, couldn't speak a bit of English. Just a good-looking girl. And they fed us, gave us some rice and fish and stuff, and we had a good time talking and all that. And she says, you want to take a shower and a bath and all that? I said, hot bath? And I said, sure, that sounds good. So the daughter gave me a hot bath. God Almighty, was that fun. Oh, Jesus, couldn't wait to nail that. Anyhow, went to bed with her that night, had a blast. Couldn't speak a bit of Chinese, but it didn't matter. It all worked the same way. So I got up next morning, and Mom's son asked me what I thought of his daughter, and I said she's absolutely gorgeous lady, and she wanted to know if I'd be interested in marrying her. And I said probably, and maybe so. Why would you? And she wanted me to marry her so she could come back to the States and get her citizenship, bring the rest of the family over. And she was going to pay me 10 grand, and when I got over there, I would divorce her after a certain period of time. And I agreed to it, but I said I'll have to get in touch with you. So she gave me her business card. I had that card for years. I was supposed to call her when I get back to the States, and we'd arrange for the ceremony and all that stuff over there, so I could get her in and marry her. And we left. Oh no, I went back to the ship. I went back to the launch on the ship because we had another day out there. I didn't realize I was going to have to stay there another day. This is the exciting part. We were in the mess hall eating. And all of a sudden, we're sitting there eating, this is lunch. And the whistle starts blowing, abandoned ship. It was Panic City, man. The blowing and blowing and blowing this. And we ran out of number 3 hole, and I'm back there, and I'm running back there, and an old friend of mine, I can't remember his name, Rudy. Rudy was an Italian guy. He was sitting there on the deck smoking a pipe, and I'm sitting, man, what are you doing out here? He says, well, what the hell? And I looked over, and he said, what? He said, what the hell? And he pointed out there, and here comes a ship dead at our beam. I could see the bow, man, it goes plowing right into the side of us. And I figured it'd launch us, but anyhow, 3 of them messmen, or one messman, I saw him go over to Fantail. He was going to go swimming for the dock. And I said, well, I started to cut my boot laces off and jumping in and drink myself. And Rudy laughed at me. He says, man, if that thing hits us, you won't even be safe if you're over there on the dock. I said, you're right. So I sat down, and this ship, I swear to God, made the hardest turn you ever seen, and she come up along us broadside and about squashed our damn gangway. It banged up against us, and it didn't damage, not that much damage. It scraped down the side and went off on the side, and boy, everybody's in panic. I mean, everybody's on the bridge, captain, and there were people all over the deck. They were on the That happened on the starboard side where she hit, and everybody's back there on the port side lowering boats like that's going to do any good, We were so loaded with ammo and stuff, there's no telling what we had here. I don't even know if we didn't have napalm, man, I'm telling you. We had all the fuses up in the bow. Anyhow, the ship scraped off of us. It was a big Chinese freight ship. It was about the same size as a Victory, I guess, but boy, she pushed us around a little bit, and that's it. And just one of them lucky things. Didn't hit us hard, but we had a hell of a time getting them out of the drink, all the boys, because they had I guess they got frozen out there in that water. By the time they got back, I think it was going into hypothermia, man. But this one black guy, man, he I couldn't believe it. That boy ran and he just dove. He didn't look, and he was swimming for for the pier. And we were a good quarter mile and all, maybe all farther than that. Jesus, 2 miles away from that dock. He had never made it anyhow. So after that adventure, we pulled anchor the next day and we headed for Quy Nhon. That's where we were going, Quy Nhon with ammo. Some big army base there. And we made it in there and tied up. And looks like these boys going to take forever. This army engineers, everybody's going to have to be tied up, going to unload this thing. Man, they were dragging ass. They didn't seem to be a big hurry, and they were loading 6x and flatbeds with ammo, all them out there, but they weren't in any too big a hurry. So the first night we were there, I went ashore and went to some bar downtown Quy Nhon, and the whores were there, of course, and they were taking care of the GIs that were off base, Army boys. And we come in there with greenbacks, and the whores went ape shit because they told us to keep quiet, and they were going to do everything they could to screw our ears off because they wanted those greenbacks. Well, apparently one of them GIs told the base about us being downtown with greenbacks, and before we know it, the MPs down there on us. And they're taking us back to the base, and we had to change our greenbacks to MPCs, and if we want the Vietnamese money, we had to go to the other bank on the other end and cash the MPCs in for the damn other money. You could voluntarily keep the money, but you had to take it back to the ship and couldn't spend it. That was a guarantee, and they would escort you back to the ship too. They weren't going to let you walk out there with that greenbacks. Apparently, a big black market or something over there with those greenbacks. Anyhow, we got our gook money and went back in there and got laid and drank the rest of the day and went back to the ship that night. And it was so hot and too noisy, you could hardly sleep in the forecastles. It was miserable. Went up on the forepeak, set a cot up, and I was trying to sleep up there, but the dust was getting to me because there was no pavement out on the dock area. The dock was made out of wood, and the damn ground between a couple hundred yards before they went through the gate that went back out into the city. And it was all dirt, trucks running around blowing up dirt. And you could see across the bay on the other side over there were some lights over there. And one guy, one of the Army engineers that had guns on, that was on guard duty there, told me that there was gooks over there. The VC were over there on that other side of the bay. And I said, what the fuck? They aren't shooting over here? You could shoot a rifle across that thing. He said, no, we haven't had any trouble lately, but every now and then they'll mortar us. And so I was a little concerned then, so I went back in the fucking forecastle. I said, hell, just rather sleep on the deck because we had the cargo lights on and everything's lit up. Jiminy Christmas. So next night I went in town and we were getting ready to get some more ass and drinking some more beer. I tell you what I did before I went out in town. So I went in there and went on that Army base and went to the NCO club, and that was in the afternoon, right afternoon, and started drinking. I met a couple of guys, Army guys that were stationed there, and we were just talking and bullshitting, and he said, you can go swimming out there at the beach if you want. But he says, remember, they dump sewage right out there, so if you swim out there and grab a hand full of shit, you know that you're in sewage. I said, I think I'll pass on that one then. So anyhow, we drank and carried on, and I went back after I got finished talking to these guys, and they had to go on patrol or had to go on duty or something. So I went back in town and got laid again and went back to the ship. Third day, they haven't hardly done anything. They're still loading 6x. I mean, this is going to take forever, I figured, by the time we got out of Quy Nhon. That night, or that afternoon, I was in the same bar. I was looking for that same little girl I had the night before, and she wasn't there. So I said, well, hell, I'll go back over to the base and go to the NCO club. So I went back over there and went to the NCO club because they had some nice looking ladies over there, and there were some nice guys. I kind of like them. I kind of like that Spec 4 I was talking to, and I went back over and asked the bartender had seen over Jerry or whatever his name was, and he says, "Oh man, I got to tell you, he didn't make it back." I said, "What do you mean? He didn't make it back?" "Oh shit." So I guess he got killed. That's a shame. Kind of ruined my night for me. So I went back and I didn't feel like getting a pizza ass. I don't know, I kind of felt bad. So I went back to ship and went to sleep. Got up next day and they said they're going to try to get us out of here that night or by the next day. So that was a good sign. So again, we go back out there. I didn't go on the NCO club, but I went back to a bar. I can't think of the name of it, but went in there and got laid again and drank and partied around. And it was around, oh man, that was about 2 o'clock in the afternoon, I guess. All of a sudden, sirens went off. MPs were blowing whistles. Trucks were running. Bombs were going off. I heard explosions and shit. Christ, I didn't know what was going on. I knew that we were under attack. It was pretty fucking obvious. And I'm here in civilian clothes running down the street, headed back to the dock, and I had a long ways to go, a good mile or so to get back to the dock, the gate at the dock. And I'm running back that way, and the bombs are going off, then shit. And some guy, some army guy, or I can't remember, he ran by and said they've taken over the radio station or something here in Quy Nhon. This in '67, I think it was. And they were in town, the VC or NVA, I'm not sure which, he said. So I went running off in there, and the mortar's going off around the area. I get in there, and I'm running toward a ship, and all this dust, these trucks moving around. I couldn't see where the ship was even. It was so damn dusty in there. And explosions going around me, and all I could do, I was going to lay down on the ground because I felt shrapnel had hit me. So I just laid there, and next to this fucking pile of dunnage or whatever it was, and I just laid there and hang on. Man, I was bouncing off the damn ground every time when them mortars go off. And that finally let up. The dust kind of settled down. I made it back to ship and washed off, got cleaned up, got some of the dust, but I kept coughing up all this goddamn dust in my lungs. And next night, we didn't get out that morning, by the way, and I had to go back and I decided not to go in town. I just stayed in one of them hooches, a little bar close to the gate there, and decided to get a piece of ass there rather than go in town. So I only had a couple of beers. Got this old girl, and she took me in the back room, and there's all these cots lined up in the back there. It's dark in there, kind of dark. And I hear all this humping and jumping going on. She's laid on the cot, and here I am banging away on this old girl, looking up the ass of a black guy, screwing another one up there. And it was like a gangbang in a hut, you know. And then, anyhow, I got up and I grabbed this pot that thought down there for washing off, and I'm washing my pecker off with this pot down there. And she said, "No, no, 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 pee. And I've been washing my goddamn balls off and nuts in a piss pot. I'm about, oh, fuck. So I went out, got a beer, poured on myself, and ran back to ship. And I scrubbed myself down. Man, I'm telling you what, I'll tell you, you don't be a whoremonger that drunk. It ain't fun, let me tell you, times like this. So anyhow, the next day we finally get out of there. We make it out of Quy Nhon, and I said, good riddance, I'm ready to go home. And off we go back to the Bay Area again, and we go, and the ship actually goes to, I think she was going into Oakland, the distributor, what do they call that, I can't think of the name of it now. It's over there by the Navy base, anyhow, Alameda. We went into Alameda, the estuary, I guess it is, and went back there and docked, and we paid off back there. And I went back to Union Hall, took a ride with a couple of guys on the deck, back to the Union Hall, registered, and went back to Arlington. and we partied a little bit that night and had fun. And I guess it was an interesting trip, but I just realized how bad it was over there. It was getting, that was just too close for me. But the money was good, so we hung in there and took care of business. See you next trip, boys, on another victory.